Alzheimer's doesn't begin when a person stops recognizing their family. It begins decades earlier, silently, while the brain loses its ability to clean itself. And there is a specific biological process, one that happens every night while you sleep, that determines whether your brain will age with health or accumulate the metabolic waste that causes the disease. And this process can be activated or blocked by what you consume every single day. What happens inside the brain of someone developing Alzheimer's is the accumulation of toxic proteins, known as beta amyloid plaques, that deposit themselves between neurons and interrupt communication between them. It's as if the electrical wiring of your brain were slowly being coated with rust from the inside. But what triggers this accumulation isn't just aging, it's chronic silent inflammation, oxidative stress in brain cells, and the failure of a brain cleaning system that science discovered less than 15 years ago, the glymphatic system. The glymphatic system is essentially the drainage system of your brain. It works primarily during deep sleep, when cerebrospinal fluid circulates through the spaces between neurons and flushes out the toxins accumulated throughout the day. When this system fails, the toxins stay, and they deposit, and over time they destroy. And what directly interferes with this cleaning system? Inflammation, deficiency of specific nutrients, and habits that most people don't associate with brain health. There are natural compounds that researchers call neuroprotectors, substances that not only protect existing neurons but stimulate the production of a protein called BDNF, which is literally the fertilizer of the brain. BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, is what keeps neurons alive, forms new connections, and ensures that memory is consolidated efficiently. After 60, BDNF levels drop naturally, and when BDNF drops, the brain begins to shrink, literally. The hippocampus, the region responsible for memory and learning, begins to lose volume, but this decline is not inevitable. It can be reversed with the right compounds in the right combination. The first of these compounds is turmeric, but not in the way you've probably already heard about. What most people don't know is that curcumin alone in powder or common capsule form has almost zero absorption by the body. Studies show that less than 1% of curcumin ingested in isolated form ever reaches the brain. For it to cross the blood-brain barrier, the protective wall that separates the blood from brain tissue, it needs to be combined with piperine, the active compound in black pepper, which increases absorption by up to 2,000%. 2,000%. That completely changes the impact this compound has on brain inflammation. The second compound is omega-3 of the DHA type. Not the generic omega-3 that comes from any fish oil, but specifically DHA, the type of fat that makes up the membrane of neurons. When the neuronal membrane is made of quality DHA, electrical signals between neurons are transmitted faster and more efficiently. When there is a DHA deficiency, membranes become rigid, neuronal communication slows down, and the risk of cognitive decline increases significantly. Before we continue, drop in the comments, what city are you watching this video from? Tell me, I want to know where all these people who care about brain health are coming from. Now I'm going to talk about something that almost no one associates with Alzheimer's, and that is probably happening to you right now. There is a mechanism called silent neuroinflammation. It doesn't hurt, it doesn't show up on common blood tests, but it slowly erodes neurons over years and is today considered one of the main causes of accelerated cognitive decline after 60. What causes this neuroinflammation? Three main things that are present in most people's daily routines: excess refined vegetable oils rich in omega-6, which create an inflammatory imbalance throughout the entire body, including the brain; chronic sleep deprivation, which prevents the glymphatic system from working properly and leaves toxins accumulating; and sugar, not just table sugar, but high glycemic index carbohydrates that cause repeated insulin spikes. The brain inflamed by excess glucose loses insulin sensitivity, and researchers already informally call Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes, because the mechanism of insulin resistance in brain tissue is one of the most documented factors in the progression of the disease, This means that protecting the brain isn't just a matter of taking supplements, it's a matter of removing the blockages that prevent the brain from healing naturally. The tonic works, but it works far better when the internal environment of your body stops being inflammatory. Back to the neuroprotective compounds. The third one you need to know about is ginkgo biloba extract, but again, with a detail that most people ignore. Ginkgo biloba improves cerebral microcirculation, meaning it increases blood flow in the finest vessels of the brain, which are exactly the ones that supply the regions responsible for short-term memory. But it only produces measurable effects in standardized extracts with at least 24% flavonoids and 6% terpenes. The cheap, non-standardized version found in many popular products doesn't have sufficient concentration to cross the blood-brain barrier in any significant amount. The fourth compound is phosphatidylserine, a phospholipid that naturally makes up the cell membranes of neurons and decreases with age. Phosphatidylserine is directly involved in the production and release of neurotransmitters such as acetylcholine and dopamine, and acetylcholine is exactly the neurotransmitter that Alzheimer's patients lose first. Studies conducted at American and European universities showed that phosphatidylserine supplementation significantly improved memory, concentration, and mental processing speed in adults over 60, even in those who already showed signs of mild cognitive decline. And the fifth only and most underestimated of all is vitamin D3 combined with vitamin K2. Nearly 80% of adults over 60 are vitamin D deficient, and what few people know is that vitamin D doesn't only act on bones, it regulates gene expression inside the brain, modulates the inflammatory response of neurons, and directly stimulates the production of BDNF. Without adequate vitamin D levels, all other compounds have reduced efficiency because the cellular environment of the brain is compromised. K2 comes in to ensure that the calcium activated by vitamin D goes to the bones and doesn't deposit itself in the arteries and cerebral vessels, which could compromise exactly the circulation we're trying to protect. Drop in the comments. Do you get sunlight exposure every day? Yes or no? Tell me. Now the practical part. There is a way to combine some of these compounds into a daily tonic using ingredients you can easily find. The base of the tonic is made with warm plant-based milk, almond or coconut, which already offer healthy fats that enhance the absorption of the active compounds, combined with 1 teaspoon of turmeric powder, a generous pinch of freshly ground black pepper, and 1 tablespoon of extra virgin coconut oil. Coconut oil provides medium-chain triglycerides, MCTs, which the liver rapidly converts into ketone bodies, an alternative energy source for neurons that works even when the brain begins to lose its ability to metabolize glucose, as happens in early Alzheimer's. To enhance it even further, you can add 1 teaspoon of freshly grated ginger, which has proven anti-inflammatory properties on brain tissue, and a pinch of true cinnamon, which improves insulin sensitivity and reduces the risk of cerebral insulin resistance. This tonic should be consumed in the morning on an empty stomach or with a light breakfast consistently. Consistency is the key word here. No natural compound acts in 1 week. The brain responds to repeated stimuli over weeks and months. What changes first is mental clarity, concentration, and sleep quality. And those are exactly the signs that the glymphatic system has started working more efficiently again. The tonic is part of a protocol. On its own, it already makes a difference. Within a complete protocol, it makes a difference you will feel. The protocol has 4 pillars: the daily tonic with the compounds I mentioned, quality sleep, 7 to 8 hours, with the room dark and cool, because it is during deep sleep that the glymphatic system works at maximum capacity. Gym, but it has to be daily. 30-minute walks increase cerebral blood flow and are one of the most documented interventions for raising BDNF levels, and the restriction of refined sugar and inflammatory vegetable oils, which are the main fuels of silent neuroinflammation. These 4 pillars together create the internal environment the brain needs to protect itself, cleanse itself, and regenerate, even after 60, 70, or 80 years of age. The brain has plasticity, it responds, but it needs the right ingredients to do so. If you made it this far, it's because you care about the health of your brain or the health of someone you love. And that already puts you ahead of most people who will only think about this when the first symptoms appear. Prevention is the only remedy that works before the disease begins. Drop in the comments which part of this video surprised you the most, and tell me, do you have someone in your family who has been affected by Alzheimer's? That comment can help other people going through the same situation find this content. If this video brought you something new, share it with someone you know who is over 60. Not because you have to, but because this information can literally change what is going to happen to that person's brain in the years ahead.